I don't know if you can see me well enough. My side's the connection could be pretty bad. Actually, it looks. I think. Oh, I don't know how I'm doing this. There we go. Okay, looks like it's working. It appears to be working all the way. Do what? Yes. Let me remove my uniform top. Yes, I am fine with being recorded. Should. My name is Tristan Larkham. Let me to spell that. Okay. I live in Phoenix, Arizona, but I'm currently in Kuwait. 24. My first reaction to what? Um, so my first reaction was I was more shocked by the what happened in Italy. So I'm since I'm in Kuwait, I'm a little bit closer to um, a lot of people who actually live in Italy. There's a lot of friends in Italy, and the whole shutdown in Italy kind of just it blew my mind, and how fast this virus has spread in a small amount of time, and how rapidly it has spread. It sums it up. It blew my mind. Really, it was shock and awe. COVID here, um, it has been handled really well. Since I believe, I want to say since the first case was brought to light in the United States, we had a strict mask policy. We have masks everywhere we go. I'm not wearing one now because it's just me. It's pretty late at night, so it's just me here, so I don't have to wear a mask. But we have to wear a mask everywhere we go, in vehicles, in our restaurants, gym. So here it was handled really well because social distancing was really enforced with the masks and the 6 feet apart, and just knowing it's like it's doing your social duty of like respecting the 6 feet apart distance. So here it was handled really well. Let's see. I can't hear if you said anything. Okay. Um, so being in an employed environment, the military is taking it more of it's personal. It's like we don't really want to be a part of the spread. We want to kind of eliminate at its smallest source while it's still not here. So the military handled it really well with just implementing social distancing, mask guidances, and jumping on the fact that wearing a mask helps. It keeps the spread down, so it doesn't really interfere with your duty because we still have to do our job. At, we still have to do our job day in and day out. So if we were to be bedridden and hospitalized for a COVID, the mission or our job wouldn't get done. So the military's handled it really well. I know all the branches have done a really great job at handling this, and it's honestly it's something to learn from for now and in future pandemics as well. Um, so my first reaction is I really didn't understand what I was seeing or reading about, and it was more of like I said, shock and awe. But now it's been 5 6 months down the line, and we have an understanding of it. We understand the outcomes and the way it spreads. So my reaction to it now is, or how I understand it now is, we need to social distance. That's a given. We need to wear masks, and it's just I think it's more educated now than it was prior, knowing what I'm talking about and like having to know the procedures about it. So I'm definitely more educated now than I was 5 6 months ago when it first it blew up on us. Um, we really have any quarantine cases that I know of here, but we have had to isolate for like 3 days between our tests to come back negative or positive if we had COVID. Um, I don't think it's really changed things here for us because we've handled it pretty well. I know in the states, and especially where I live, Arizona hasn't handled it well, and it's showing in the numbers. And you know, I really don't know. I haven't had that experience here, I guess, to, to give an answer on that. So as a civil engineer, is my job. I'm a civil engineer. We deal with a lot of people, so it definitely involves a lot of close contact with people, even tight situations of like building a building. There's a lot of people go into that process of building a building. Here, I don't have that problem. However, if I when I go home and I'm working doing my job back home, it, more people have the opportunity to go out and like have social interactions with people. Here, it's not much of a problem. It's because we're pretty tight knit. However, say back home, that could change completely for the fact that people live off base, people live downtown. Uh, so here, it's not of a problem. Back home, it could be a problem. However, I know in the military, we're pretty tight knit with our procedures, especially during COVID with the testings and it's just constant testing is what it is, and temperature readings, and at least following those guidelines that were set in place, like social distancing, masks. So it's not much of a worry in the military, at least on my part. Yeah, there's some worries could be like the travel restrictions. People in the military we move a lot. It's just one of the things that come with it. So people can lose orders to deploy. So it's such a small thing to worry about. Like, oh, I could lose my I'm moving to a new base and I can't now because of COVID. It's but those things not much things to worry about as as I just said it could be because it's done for the safety. It's removing the restriction of travel, so you eliminate that chance of spreading COVID. In the military, there's not really much of a in the future worry. I'd say it's more of a trying to think of a proper well response. I can't think of if it would affect us really. I mean, if there's definitely future pandemics that can happen and can definitely affect us. It does affect everyone in the United States, but I can't think of a response right now. What was the exact question again, so I can retrack? Oh, do okay. Um, yes, I mean, with taking what we know now, with social distancing, and then I mean, I would say everyone's hygiene overall is people would have probably had really great hygiene as it is, but I think we've taken it to a next level now with like hand sanitizing constantly, and then just being more socially aware of what's around us. So I think my plan for the future and what I've taken now through this experience is just build upon that, be more socially aware of what's around me, and just base it off of that. Would be my plan for the future or future pandemics. Okay, this is where it gets it's a touchy subject. It's not really touchy. It's just more. I'll probably have to opt out of that one. Uh, yeah, that's okay. The interview's been great so far, or this whole process has been great so far. Um, I think my personal opinion, I think is really important is people need to wear masks. It's I mean, there's a science behind it, and it's been shown and proven then and again. Wearing a mask helps, and even um, if you're not sick and you don't wear a mask, I mean, if you're not sick and you wear a mask, you're not hurting anybody. You're wearing a mask, and it's just preventing that spread. And I think that's everyone should do that. I wear a mask every day. It's people back home need to wear masks, and like as I said earlier, I live in Arizona, and people aren't wearing masks, and then the numbers are rising. I think people need to wear a mask. Is my biggest like nail I'll drive is wear a mask. It's it's the littlest thing you could do, and it's one of the best things you can do. Yeah. So definitely in science, things are going to constantly change, and it's just I want to say it's how science is. There's always variables going to change. Um, I think our scientists have done a fantastic job for finding and showing ways that we, as the population, can do to help eliminate the coronavirus. However, people won't always believe scientists, um, so they're always going to find a way to discredit them. I think with the data changing, and um, there's some people out there who don't like it. People just don't like scientists. I don't know why. Um, my thing is science is always going to change something. It's the data is going to change, but it's always going to change. I'd say for the better. With especially with COVID right now, is like they're trying to find a cure. They're trying to find ways to eliminate the spread, and that's kind of one thing you should kind of just really know and read up on what you want to do and know how to do it. It's like the masks or uh, properly disinfecting and social distance. It's just it's kind of a I can see as scientists that those variables change a lot, but I think it's just being most informed and the most up to date uh, data you can get, and just knowing when is out of date and when is up to date for especially with COVID. No one is what's the newest of the new. Yes, I have been tested for COVID, and it wasn't as bad as everyone has made it out to be. It is kind of like uh, a pinch of getting a Q-tip stuck up your nose and then leaning your head back and having it moved around. But it wasn't the worst thing I've had done. So it definitely isn't bad. And I think the 3 day turnaround period is what mine was to get the test result back isn't a small, I guess, a small price to pay for it, like being sure that you don't have it. So that 3 day period, I isolated myself and I waited for the test result to come back, and it came back negative. However, if it does come back positive, then you'd get put to quarantine, and you spend 2 weeks there being monitored and get retested at the end of it, and then you wait the 3 days again and see if you get positive. If you do, you continue that again. But if you get negative, you get moved to isolation, and then the process repeats until you're clear. So the test isn't bad. It's not bad at all. Yeah. Okay. So currently where I stay, it's a pretty small room. It's deployed, so the rooms are pretty small. However, it's just me in that room. So when I got the test done, I was told to go to my room and just like go straight to the room and then stay there for 3 days, and I'll get food delivered to my door and any other essential stuff I need, like such as water. So I stayed in that room for 3 days, and at the end of it, well, I stayed until they gave me the test result. It wasn't just 3 days. This is how long mine took. And then once I got my test result, I had to stay in the final day, and then I was released. And it wasn't bad. It was definitely a break from work. Unfortunately, it's just staying in a single room with a bathroom is kind of I guess boring after a while. So overall it was a good short period compared to 2 weeks and so on and so forth. Much more than what I experienced. Perfect. No problem. Sorry I couldn't answer that one question. I'm in the military. I am refused. Yeah, no problem. I hope you stay safe as well. No problem. Awesome. Have a good day.